Hi everyone, and thank you for tuning into this Sprintax video where we will answer your YouTube questions that you've asked on our YouTube videos. My name is Anna Fitzpatrick and I'm an account manager here at Sprintax. And as I mentioned, the aim of today's video is to bring you through some of the YouTube questions that we've been asked and provide some responses. As always, because it's tax that we're talking about, I do have to start off with some type of a disclaimer. And this video is aiming to give you a general understanding of tax as it applies to non-resident international students, scholars, and professionals in the US. So it's always important to keep in mind that this information is general and each individual has their own unique tax position and is responsible for their own tax determination and tax compliance. But let's jump in and see some of the questions that we've been asked on our YouTube videos. The first question comes from a video relating to step 3, Let's Talk Money, and it asks that they were in June in 2022. They joined a university in California, and before that time they were in New York, but this implies that all of their income for 2023 is not only from California. Should I submit 2 W-2 forms as part of my tax filing considering this transition? If you had 2 separate employers, for example, one in California and one in New York, yes, you should have received 2 separate W-2s and you should report 2 W-2s in this case, or 2 income documents, whatever they might be from your relevant institutions or employers. On Sprintax, in the income section, you will select what income documents you have and the quantity of each, and you'll either upload them or manually enter them at this step. And also, having income and living and working in multiple states may mean that you have multiple state tax filing obligations, but the Sprintax system will determine that for you. The next section is also relating to Let's Talk Money, step 3. When someone's getting an error message, please fill the fields in red so you can move on. However, there's no more fields in red. In this case, trying to troubleshoot this, we'd recommend logging out and clearing your cache and cookies. And if the issue continues, we'd recommend removing the income document and then you manually entering the information instead of uploading the document, and that should help to troubleshoot and allow you to proceed to the next step. And if you still have issues, we'd recommend reaching out to our live chat or support email hello@sprintax.com. Next question then is relating to our video non-resident US tax overview for J participants. And this individual did not use Sprintax because the online form forced them to fill in their home address outside the US section. I have no home address, so it's hard for me to understand how to proceed. Hope you can clarify this. So on step 2 on Sprintax, you are required to report both the US and home address, but you only need to report one of those as your address for correspondence or your actual mailing address. So if you are no longer in the US and you're currently in your home country, you would select your non-US address for correspondence. But if you're currently in the US, you can, for example, report the address of your parents in your home country, and then you can choose the US address as the one to be used for your correspondence. The next question is coming from our video, All Your Non-Resident Tax Questions Answered, and it asks, shall we mail only the 8843 form or attach it with other documents such as passport, DS form, etc.? So in your instructions provided by Sprintax, whether that be for your 8843, your federal return, your state tax return, we will outline what tax forms, if any, you need to include. So for example, if you have a federal tax return, we'll outline which copies of your income documents you might need to include alongside your federal tax return. So I'd advise going to your tax pack, seeing what it outlines to include alongside any forms, and then proceeding accordingly. The next question will relate to step 5 about your college, and it says there's no program director details on the I-20 though, right? So relating to your I-20, you can refer to the school information section on your I-20 when you are completing the details around step 5 about your college, your university or college details, and any program related director details as well. Next question is around step 6, living in the US, which is relating to state taxes. And it says it's not giving me the option for an outside US for when I permanently left. So the fields in step 6 are related to your responses that you provide in step 1, residency. So if you're not able to change something here, it's likely that that is being impacted because of what you entered in step 1, residency. So I would recommend going back to step 1, residency, making sure your details are correct, proceeding then through the following steps, and this will then update step 6 as well. Next question is relating to e-filing. It's the video step 7, e-file your federal tax return with Sprintax. And it outlines I do not have the e-file option at the end of my application. It just tells me to download my documents and mail them physically. How do I do it electronically? So it will depend on your circumstances, whether you are eligible to e-file your federal tax return or not. Unfortunately, the IRS do have certain limitations, which will mean that certain individuals are eligible to e-file, whereas certain individuals are not eligible to e-file. And you can revert to our or refer to our e-filing blog where it details eligibility criteria there. But if you are not eligible to e-file, you simply won't see that option on Sprintax, and you will need to print, sign, and mail your federal return to the IRS using the instructions provided in your tax pack. Last question for today then refers to misfiling and how to amend your returns. And it comes from the Can International Students File a US Tax Return with TurboTax. So it says, I filed using TurboTax and turns out I am getting a tax credit, which I'm not supposed to because they use the 1040 and I'm supposed to use the 1040 NOR. How do I fix this? So if you filed a 1040 or used a resident software when you shouldn't have and you're a non-resident for tax purposes, you will need to file an amended tax return. And this would be with Form 1040X, the amended US individual income tax return, and you would need to amend for all incorrect years. And on Sprintex, we can help with this. As you can see from the screenshot there, if you need help with amending 2023, you'll select the 2023 tax year and then you will select the tick box that you want to correct your 2023 tax return that you've already sent to the IRS. You'll click the next arrow and then you'll proceed with the amended return questionnaire and Sprintax will amend your return. If you need to amend returns for other years, you will do the same or complete the same steps for the relevant years prior to 2023. But with that said, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning into this video. I'd like to thank everyone for your questions on our YouTube channel, and I hope that we got to multiple questions and also some questions with common themes across multiple videos. So I really hope you found these responses helpful. Make sure you're filing ahead of the April 15th deadline, and best of luck with your tax filing obligations this season. Thanks again, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.